I love cartoons.
Me too.
Yes, and I have loved cartoons all of my life.
Yes.
Now, during the 1990s, I don't know if you knew this or not, I was actually president of my college. No, I was not on a very famous TV show. I was actually briefly the president of my college's anime club. And there were two series that I particularly loved. One is this obscure romantic comedy called Maze Runner Goku. It seemed to run forever. And the other one was Sailor Moon. I kind of had this magical girl kick going on. Now, so apparently there was an animator at Disney who also loved Sailor Moon back in the 90s, and so she created a magical girl show. And that is going to be the basis of our recipe for today.
Yay!
So get ready, people out there in TV land, because today's recipe is a little weird, it's a little wild. That's because it's not really from around here, it's from another dimension. We're going to consult the magic book of spells for Star versus the Forces of Evil as we make the pie of the red Solanaceae.
Yay!
Preparing the pie of the red Solanaceae takes a little bit of translation work. The ingredients of Muni have different names from their Earth equivalents. For example, dirt pearls are onions, and red Solanaceae are tomatoes. Luckily, the Book of Magic Spells provides translations. We won't be giving away exact ingredient amounts or cooking processes here so as not to run afoul of Disney's intellectual property lawyers. We also don't want to discourage sales of a book that is still currently in print. But here's a general list. 1 pound of tomatoes, diced onion, unsalted pig goat fat or butter, flour, stock or broth, grated Gruyere cheese, breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, and thyme, and pie crust. You can use store-bought pie crust. If you want to make your own, the Book of Magic Spells includes a recipe elsewhere in the same chapter. When prepping your veggies, you don't have to work too hard on the tomatoes. You're going to cook them down to a mush. If you're feeding kids or adults who are picky about onions, do a fine mince. Otherwise, a 1/4-inch chop for onions will do fine. I think I overestimated the number of Roma tomatoes that make up 1 pound, which led to an overabundance of pie filling. This will lead us to a part 2 of this video in which I will find some creative uses for the extra filling. You're going to want to check that out next week. Without giving away too much, we can say that we cook the tomatoes and onions down into a mush. It takes time, and you have to break some of it down mechanically. In a second pan, the book suggests a knight's helmet, make a roux and then add to broth. We have to blind bake the pie crust before adding a filling. This is a common technique that's been used by generations of humans, mumins, and unscrupulous pie folk. To get your rolled out pie crust into a pie pan, you can roll it up in your rolling pin and unroll it into the pie pan. Then, using parchment paper as a shield, fill the crust with beans, rice, glass marbles, or anything else that will survive baking. Bake for about 25 minutes and carefully remove the filling. Then you're good to go. The recipe calls for only a 1/4-inch deep tomato filling. I defied the recipe and did 1/2 inch. The pie crust was a little overworked, so I had a hard time forming the decorative butterfly design described in the book. Besides, this meeple's shape seems pretty appropriate. Now for the most important question, how does it taste?
Okay, so welcome back. As you can see, we have a hot, delicious pie of the red Solanaceae ready to go, and it just stopped bubbling. So this is fresh out of the oven, ready to go and nice and delicious. So, would you care to do the honors?
Sure, I can do that. Alright, let's see. I'm cutting into the meatball. I guess that's what he's there for.
It's like Mr. Bill. Oh no!
You know what we should probably have right now?
What's that?
A pot holder.
Ah.
Because the stoneware is very hot. Okay. There you go. Let's see. I'm going to cut it so that we each get a lovely tomato.
And you have successfully decapitated our meatball.
Yes. It's very loose. I'm going to guess that this is probably best if you let it sit for like 20 minutes, give it a chance to cool and congeal.
Mm-hmm. It's like eating a gooier version of a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice Gruyere cheese.
All the pizza flavors are there.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has a pronounced pizza flavor.
The panko breadcrumbs add a little bit of texture.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but it's lovely.
Mm.
It's really nice.
The original recipe in the book called for the use of a pie crust that contains sugar. And I can't really see serving this on a sweet pie crust.
No. So, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it blends with the whole pizza thing. I would probably do this again with an actual like yeast crust, more like a pizza dough crust or a focaccia. This would be wonderful as like a focaccia tart.
Yeah. What would you think about making cups with, say, puff pastry or phyllo dough?
What would you say to making cups with rolled out biscuits?
I was actually thinking about that when I was trying to figure out, okay, well, how can I use the rest of this?
This would be great with phyllo dough.
Mm-hmm.
This would be great with
I can see this definitely
pizza
with
dough.
biscuits. Yeah.
But if you wanted to do a fun thing with the kids, canned biscuits would make a good conveyance of this. And that could be really, really cute.
Oh yeah. If you wanted to, if you wanted to go high end too, you could probably stick a basil leaf in each little biscuit thing or on top of your phyllo dough tart.
Ooh, and if you did that with a round of fresh mozzarella.
Oh, that would be glorious.
So you do like the phyllo dough, a round of fresh mozzarella, fresh basil leaf, and then this mixture. Now, if you're making this for your kids, I'm gonna tell you what, that is too big of an onion. No child I know, and I know myself as a child would never have eaten this. But if you chop them onions up fine enough, they're not even gonna know, and it tastes really, really good. It tastes like pizza.
Now the thing about this is, the instructions were short and simple. If we were going to do a Babish version of this, or what's her name? She does the gourmet fast foods.
Nadia?
Nadia? If we're going to do a Nadia version of this, I would probably blanch the tomatoes first to peel off the skins.
Right.
The skins do appear. They don't really do too much to harm the texture or flavor or anything.
Yeah,
they're
don't really
fine,
notice them.
But if you wanted to
If you're
really...
a picky little kid, you might notice.
And I would also add some garlic and some basil. The only seasoning, aside from salt and pepper, that was called for was thyme.
Doesn't have any oregano in it either.
Right.
So
maybe an Italian seasoning blend. I was thinking of maybe that Trader Joe's Italian sofrito that we did a taste test for. We'll supply you with a link in the description so you can take a look at that. So, on the original recipe, what do you think? Thumbs up?
thumbs up with modifications.
Ah, okay. Perhaps at some point in the future we can revisit this. And speaking of revisiting foods from Fantasyland, if you're interested in seeing us tackle something else for pop culture, perhaps from SpongeBob SquarePants, Bob's Burgers, or my personal favorite, Odin Sphere, you can go ahead, leave us a comment below, let us know what you would like us to make.
I want an apple pie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, thanks for joining us today. I've been Jason.
And I'm Dawn.
And don't forget to live your life the Meeple which way, Meeple people. Dine in,
Game on.